Welcome back to New Rockstars. The Falcon the Winter Soldier is complete, but there are plenty of questions. Questions like, if Isaiah Bradley existed in this universe, who else knew about him, and why did they let this happen? There have been characters throughout the 20th century in the MCU in positions of power who should have known. Why didn't they stop this?
Exactly.
I'm Erik Voss, here with MT. How you feeling, MT?
I'm feeling outraged. I mean, how could they just know and just not let anything happen? Just kidding. I'm feeling great. It's fine. But like, who could have known about Isaiah Bradley? Is there anybody out there that
someone must have known?
Someone that we knew. Like, someone's holding things from us. Who's holding that information from us?
Who's lying? We are live with our listeners on stereo right now. They have asked all kinds of wonderful questions. We're going to take them. But first, we want to talk about this whole idea of who knew about Isaiah Bradley. What was interesting this week is series creator Malcolm Spellman said in an interview that he and his writers went deep into the Marvel history and the historical implications of who knew what when, who was in power when. And based off of Dr. Nagel's line in episode 3, he said that, initially the U.S. government had control of Isaiah Bradley. He was an American government soldier, an American test subject. And then at some point, HYDRA was also interested in the super soldier serum. HYDRA had corrupted S.H.I.E.L.D. and had its fingers, its tentacles all over the American government system. And that HYDRA kind of took over this operation. And then HYDRA, was starting to collapse around Civil War, especially with Zemo plugging all the Winter Soldiers that were down there and plugging that HYDRA kernel. Now, the problem with that is someone in the American government throughout the 20th century must have been aware. So there have been figures like Nick Fury, like Peggy Carter, like Howard Stark, like Thaddeus Ross. MT and I believe that Thaddeus Ross was probably aware of Isaiah Bradley. What do you think, MT?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, in the Incredible Hulk, like a big part of that movie is them trying to recreate the super soldier serum that created Captain America. And so with Ross heading up that project, he's got to know the history of the serum and like how many the trials and errors of the past. And so he had to know of this sin that the United States government did against Isaiah Bradley. So if there's anyone that I'm very confident about, it's going to be him and also Val. Val just knows things now that we know Val. So Val probably knew, depending on what her role was, we don't really know exactly. But I would say Val and Ross definitely probably had some knowledge.
So we got those two. There was also talk of this nurse who falsified his death report and allowed him to escape. There have been some theories that Donya Madani could have been that nurse.
Right.
MT and I talked about this in Friday's episode, that it does work timeline-wise. And we think Donya Madani had some history with the super soldier serum, and that's why that was her initial role. For her to have been that exact nurse feels a little Curb Your Enthusiasm style coincidental, but possible. Yeah. I'm not gonna exclude that possibility.
Yeah, it definitely is possible, and I would like for her to have that tie and to have that role to play in the series, because it's really unfortunate that she's just been relegated to a sick and now dead woman because of the deleted storyline. It would be really cool to see a tie to the super soldier serum legacy with her as that nurse. Because, she seems to be, as far as we know, she seemed to be a really kind woman, and, she went out of her way for everybody else during her life. So it wouldn't be out of character for her to be the one to let Isaiah go. You were totally right. It would have just been too coincidental. So you just happen to know the lady that helped Sam's,
Right.
Get the person that inspired him and all this stuff. It'd just be too coincidental because the world is too big for something that specific to happen. So, Yeah.
But
right.
But I highly doubt someone like Peggy Carter knew. I think she would strongly object to any attempt to replicate the super soldier serum program after Steve Rogers. That was probably a necessary move to fight the Nazis and to fight HYDRA. But after she assumed HYDRA was gone, I don't think that she would, be cool with them doing that to Isaiah Bradley and all the other soldiers they did that to. But I don't know. I keep going back and forth on Nick Fury, though. I think I can see Nick Fury. We forget he's a pretty Machiavellian dude. He's he allowed Project Insight to get off the ground, and he had some
Yeah.
strong reasons for that. I could see Nick Fury at least knowing about this, thinking it's kind of messed up,
Mm.
having arguments with people about it, but still seeing that as like unnecessary historical evil. That it's horrible that it happened, but it happened,
Yeah.
and you know, and not
Yeah,
telling
like
Sam about it because he doesn't want to confuse the mission or something like that.
yeah, I think that with Shield being an organization that worked closely with the government, I think he was just like, this is a terrible thing that happened, but like people knowing is not going to make my job easier. So I'm just going to just keep it in the past, and like I'm not happy about it, but like Hakuna Matata, like there's nothing that we can do about it. It's done.
Right.
And so he could have known, like, because he's a shady guy with a lot of secrets. So like he
Right.
probably knew something.
I mean, here's the thing. We know Bucky knew. Bucky knew quite a bit. He knew he
did.
fought him in the Korean War, So like, I don't know he knew the fullest extent of his incarceration, but I assume Bucky had checked in with him afterwards. But didn't Isaiah Bradley say like he only recognized him from like decades earlier? Like it seemed like that it had been a long time since they had talked.
Yeah, I thought the last time he saw him was the Korean War, right? And he almost ripped off his arm and all that stuff. So
I think he knew that there was a soldier who had super soldier serum and might know something about it. I think the reason they went to Isaiah Bradley was because he knows something about super soldier experimentation and that there might still be versions of it out in the world. So I think Bucky must have known that he was being experimented on.
I mean, it would make sense because he was a HYDRA agent and a HYDRA asset.
Yeah.
And like, I'm sure HYDRA had their eyes on Isaiah Bradley. They wanted him before they actually got him. So, it's, I don't know.
I think Bucky's reason for not telling Sam is the same Nick Fury or some of these other folks might have had, is this guy wanted to live peacefully in private for the rest of his days. He didn't want any attention, and then Isaiah Bradley even said, he's like, no, I don't want to do a press conference right now because they're going to come kill me if they find out I'm still alive. So Sam kind of found a middle ground solution with that statue in the Smithsonian, and maybe that was enough for Isaiah Bradley to be like, it's kind of made it look like he was a past warrior that he's paying homage to, as opposed to someone who's still alive in Baltimore who you can go visit.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, hey, I just don't want to be erased from history, but I just don't want people to think that I'm alive, because like having another super soldier around just puts a target on your back, and like not only with like news media, but like you said, with various entities, whether it be the government or just evil people like HYDRA or remnants of HYDRA or whatever, the Ten Rings, wanting to take him or kill him.
So let's take some questions from you guys, you patient stereo listeners.
Yes.
So what do you
If you had to make a guess, what do you think Captain America 4 is going to be about?
Oh, that is a great. I mean, I would love to see. I know we talk about Zola a lot. I'm always on the Zola train. I would love to see the return of those classic Cap villains, Zola, Red Skull. I definitely think that Red Skull's coming back. I feel it in my bones, because of just the way that those beams went up in Infinity War and Endgame after the Soul Stone was they did the deed for the Soul Stone. I just think that he's like in a wormhole somewhere, and that there's going to be some weird. He's going to be returned back on Earth. At a particular set of time. But that's just me and my weird theories. But yeah, I just want to see Sam face off against HYDRA. I think that HYDRA's coming back. But what do you think?
I think the coolest thing about Captain America is he fights the real world historical battles of the era, So Captain America was initially introduced during World War II. I want to see Cap fighting what is like the current threat to us right now, white nationalist terrorism. Like, I want to see him bring down these groups. I want to see him punch. What is today's Hitler right now? Let's see Captain America punch that dude in the face. I'm not talking about peaceful protesters. I'm talking about people who are killing Capitol Police and violently burning shit on our Capitol, staging an insurrection. That is straight up terrorism. That is not protest.
Yeah,
So let's make that
that's
distinction, and let's have Captain America on the front line of that battle. I don't give a
yeah. I think a conversation about something like that would be really interesting and really topical. Like you said, like it's just totally right. And I think that Spellman in particular is does like to talk about stuff like that. And he would do a great
I don't
job.
think Marvel will ever do that. I think that's probably a little too political for Marvel, and I was surprised they went as political as they did in this show. But having them having them do like stuff that we saw in Watchmen, I don't think Marvel's going to go there for quite some time.
Oh my god, I would love for them to bring in the character, the hate monger. From the comics, which was basically he was in a KKK suit, but it was purple, I think. But it's just a guy who just uses people's hate to be evil, and so I think that'd be a really great character and a very topically relevant character to bring in. But I think that however Captain America 4 comes out, it's going to be amazing because A, we got Sam Wilson, and B, it's a huge deal for Sam Wilson to be Cap, and so that I feel like they're going to pour a lot more care into this Captain America movie than most of their other ones because it does mean a lot to a lot of people.
But before we continue, thanks to Blue Blocks for sponsoring this video. If you're like me, you've been on your phone or your computer or your TV more than ever before. Screen time all the time. And I've noticed my eyes starting to feel heavy and I was having some problems sleeping. Well, it's because blue light damages our eyes and leads to digital eye strain. Some symptoms of digital eye strain include blurred vision, headaches, and dry or watery eyes. For some folks, this could even affect your energy level. Well, Blue Blocks was created to fix this problem and block out the blue light with high quality lenses. Blue Blocks are evidence-backed and made under optics laboratory conditions in Australia. They have over 40 styles of frames and come in prescription, non-prescription, and readers, so they have frames for every need. Go to blueblocks.com/newrockstars or just click on the link below and you will get 20% off your order and free shipping worldwide on orders over $115. Get your energy back, sleep better, and block out the unhealthy effects of blue light with Blue Blocks. That's BLUBLOX.com/newrockstars or just click on the link below. Code automatically applied at checkout for 20% off. Let's take another question.
By the end of the series, how do you guys feel? Is Walker actually a villain or just misunderstood or just nuanced?
How should we look at Walker at the end of this series? Fascinating question. I think right now, according to Spellman, after this show, by the end of the finale, it seemed like the finale, what was on screen, made him to look like a fully redemptive character. That he had totally learned the error of his ways by simply saving those 4 or 5 GRC officials. That makes up for violently butchering someone in the street. I think to hear Spellman talked about it, I think John Walker getting away with it was supposed to be a commentary on how people like him are able to kind of get away with stuff.
Yeah, I think that I really like that. I think that, we are, like you said, we are supposed to get like this sense of, he did learn a lesson throughout the course of the series, but I think that the root of the problem, the root of John Walker's problem, a lot of his trauma and his drive to want to be this like ultimate soldier, to be this like to be sort of, I think he still wants to be the next Captain America in a sense because he wants to do right, but like I just think that there's a lot of mental work that he's not doing where he's going to keep crossing those lines that we kind of get teased in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I think that we've only seen the beginnings of John Walker. So there's going to be a lot more terrible stuff.
I don't think it was Spellman's intent to validate John Walker's violence in Latvia. I think the intent was people like this can get away with it. And I think we're still meant to judge him in that moment. Yeah. And to Wyatt Russell's credit, he gave that character so much empathy. And he played it as you should play villains. You play it as someone who is the winner of their own history and the hero of their own story. And I thought the way he played it was so good. The fact that like
it was very good.
You feel that kind of like inner emasculation and that rage and that powerlessness and that rage again, to where you see where he's coming from. But in terms of the character, the way it's being written, no, I don't think he is a hero right now. I think he is at morally best an anti-hero who we're kind of still afraid of.
Yeah, he's going to be doing some really messed up stuff in the name of the government because they need him to. Mm. And so it's going to be really great to see just how far and just how much John Walker excuses, because he seems to be the type of person just be like, oh, it wasn't my fault. It was out of my hands. Right. You know, just seeing that part of him evolving, or I guess devolving, because he's slowly degrading. It's just really interesting. And like, I don't think anyone could have played John Walker as well as Russell did. Russell knocked that out of the park. I can't think of a single actor. But anyway, that's me.
Yeah. Let's take another.
Why won't Bucky go by as the White Wolf instead of the Winter Soldier anymore? Any insights on that?
Yeah, I think Bucky should go as the White Wolf. And I think that's what Malcolm Spellman kind of wanted, is like for him to no longer be considered the Winter Soldier. He is the White Wolf, or just James Buchanan Barnes. James Barnes or Bucky Barnes or something like that. His Winter Soldier days are behind him. So yeah, I hope that like the next title he appears in, he is just called the White Wolf. Like I want Black Panther 3 or Black Panther 2 to be Black Panther and the White Wolf or something like that. You know, that'd be great.
That'd be sick.
Or
that'd be so sick.
Or just like he gets his own spin-off series where it's just called the White Wolf of Wakanda. That'd be.
I'm telling you, man, a White Wolf and the War Dogs of Wakanda all day, every day.
Yeah.
Like
yeah. I love that idea.
I think it'd be really cool, like to see, like the White Wolf, or like I think that. For Bucky to go officially by the White Wolf in the MCU, I feel like we got to see him earn it, because we just accepted like, oh yeah, he's called the White Wolf. That's cool. But like, I just want to get a glimpse of like, you know, the transition of like, all right, this is when you went from the Winter Soldier to the White Wolf. I think that'd be great. And I think that may be something that Marvel could be waiting for before they officially name him the White Wolf. But another thing, and it could be misremembering here, but in the show, didn't he say that he felt like a piece of the Winter Soldier still lived inside of him, and that it wasn't?
Yeah, he did say that at the end of episode 5, right?
Yeah, something like that. I think I remember him saying that. So like, I feel like that might end up being significant, because like that wiring might not be 100% gone, and so. This is a really wild thing that I wanted Marvel to do, but like I really wanted Marvel to use the Soul Stone to somehow remove the Winter Soldier from Bucky Barnes and the Winter Soldier become his own individual person that is 100%.
I love that.
And so like Bucky just has this alter ego that he has to always face. It's like, you're the Winter Soldier and I hate you, but like you are me. And like it'd be really cool to see that evolution, and it would make Bucky's journey really interesting, or even more interesting, because it's already interesting. But anyway, that's just me being a weirdo.
Thoughtful and cool. Let's take another question.
What do you think happens to Carly's movement now? There were a lot of supporters all over the world, apparently. They can't just disappear, right? I mean, there's got to have some kind of group come out of that.
I agree. And there was that one member of the Flag Smashers who fell into the Hudson that they brought up at the end. So not all of them are dead, even part of Carly's group. Or not, because the rest got boomed by the butler. But yeah, I
or
think
had their faces melted off.
Yeah, I think they might go dormant for a bit. I don't see them maybe they could play a role in Secret Invasion. Like they feel so disaffected by the governments of the world that they now. I mean, the governments did lay off, right? The GRC did not pass the Patch Act. I think was the idea of it. And I think. But now I could still see them being like, well, we're still not getting the resources we need, and then like being a group of humans who team up with the Skrulls or something like that in Secret Invasion, or like the bad Skrulls, the Skrulls who are trying to destabilize the world governments.
That'd be really interesting. I would love to. That would be a great angle to take it. Though I'm kind of like, I feel like people's reactions to the Flag Smashers have been like kind of like either mixed to not so great. So that I feel like Kevin will be like, all right, let's just forget that this even happened. Like, this is done. Flag Smashers are done. At the most, I think maybe they might use the app and the app technology sometime in the future. Maybe that might come into play. But the actual Flag Smashers, I think there was a shot in at the last episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier that sort of implied that the followers were sort of abandoning the Flag Smasher cause, because like they showed the Flag Smasher masks on the ground and then people walking away from it. So like that, I took that as all right, this is like the Flag Smashers are officially done, even though in real life that's not how movements die. Like the movements keep going despite their figureheads leaving, like
leaders into martyrs and stuff. Yeah.
Exactly, like we see in Star Wars after the original trilogy. Like, the Empire didn't go away 100% after the Emperor died. It's like there's still remnants. But I think that just the response to the Flag Smashers hasn't been... like, they're not iconic Marvel villains. They just sort of came and went. And, like, they serve their purpose. And, like, that's okay. And, like, there's no hate towards the Flag Smashers, really. COVID obviously played a role, but, like... I just think that Kevin Feige's just like, all right, we're just going to move on from here.
Yeah. And we, too, will move on. We have some questions we want to get through, but we're going to limit ourselves to each of us to 10 seconds, just so we can get to more questions, because we want to hear as many as we can.
You think that it's possible that Steve is on the Sword Space Station with Nick Fury and all the Skrulls?
Yes, I think it is possible if that conspiracy theory is true. If not, I believe he is in Wakanda.
Yeah, it could be anywhere, so it's definitely possible, yes.
I think my biggest question after the season wrapped up is, when will we see Joaquin Torres again? Because he is set up to be such a great character, and I really want to see him soon.
Agreed. I think we'll see him playing Falcon in Captain America 4.
Oh, yes. That's when we will get that big reveal. It's like, all right, here's my new sidekick. It's going to be Joaquin Torres. So, yeah, it's going to be Cap 4.
Hopefully sooner. I'd love to see him pop up in, like, Armor Wars or Secret Invasion or something like that. But
yeah, that'd be super dope.
Yeah. My question is, what do you think happened to the Cap in the timeline he stayed in when he stayed with Peggy?
Yeah, that's what I think. These rumors that another Chris Evans Captain America movie is happening, I think it's going to follow him through 20th century history. So I assume that he went to go free Bucky from HYDRA's clutches in Siberia, and had some kind of Cold War era adventures with Bucky and Peggy Carter.
I do like that, but I honestly think that he just spent the rest of his days with Peggy, and he just wanted to stop being a soldier, because that's what Tony told him to do the whole time. Sure. So yeah. That's just me.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see that too. And Sally.
Who do you guys think is going to help Zemo break out of prison? Because I think it'd be a lot of fun to see Zemo and Hammer just see their wits kind of coming together. I think they'd be a really fun team. So, but who do you guys think will break Zemo out of prison?
Hammer's a fun one. I assume Hammer's still in prison. But like the two of them sharing a cell together, something could be fun. I assume it's going to be like Ross or Val will make a deal with Zemo.
It's definitely going to be Ross or Val, because it just makes the most sense. I don't think that Zemo is capable of escaping the raft on his own, and in like, because it's in the middle of the ocean, a Val or a Ross with, it just seems more likely. But
yeah, I agree. Well, that is it for this episode of our Inside Marvel Q&A. We want to thank everyone who asked questions. For all of you for watching, we really appreciate that. Be sure to subscribe to New Rockstars here on YouTube. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Erik Voss. Follow MT at MasterTainment. Check out all of our great merch options at newrockstarsmerch.com. And as we said in Friday's episode, we will be back every Friday. Friday, covering the biggest Marvel news, going inside Marvel with you up until Loki comes back, and then we'll be doing after shows for that. So this is going to be a regular thing. We're excited. We're not going anywhere. We're
not going anywhere.
Never. It never stops. But once again, thank you guys for joining us. It's been a delight talking about the Falcon and the Winter Soldier with you. And we will see you next time. Bye-bye.